start this recording so I don't forget.
Okay,
How's it in St. Louis?
good. Now, can you see my presentation yet? No?
Not yet, but I need to share my screen first. And
Okay,
then once I'm finished, you can share yours.
okay, that's fine. So I'll just wait till you transfer over, right?
All right, yeah, it's 1:55 right now, so. Make sure you have everything up correctly.
Good.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oops. Gotta go back. How do we go back? Okay.
Yeah.
I had to try to get back in the swing of things of doing this. Have you done any other presentations so far?
Not recently.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm the same way though. I try to there's so many different formats and stuff, you know, it's
Mhm. Yeah.
I guess I've averaged over the last couple months, 1 or 2 a month, you know.
Mhm. No, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I finally got all my programs. At the beginning, you got to create programs to go along, then you create an inventory of them, so it's not as difficult, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I had a hard time deciding on trips, cruises this year for some reason. Just had some of them had kind of the same, a little bit of the same itinerary. So I was just trying to get them all straight in my head.
How's the bookings looking so far?
Okay, pretty good, actually. I've been getting,
Good.
although every now and then, you know, people get scared and get some cancellations. So
Right.
2 trips that we thought we'd have hosts for in the first quarter, now we are getting cancellations. So luckily I haven't asked anybody to host yet.
Right.
You know. So, yeah, that's kind of the situation. I don't even know my total number. I still have to enter them into my database, so I'm not sure. But we're not doing too bad considering.
Yeah.
So far, the 2 people in the waiting room are people on my staff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, okay, come on, we need a few more here.
Yeah, really.
Oh,
Singing to the choir.
ugh. I did have one person email me today saying she had to cancel out. She couldn't make it, so. Come on, people, where are ya?
Yeah, a few schools are doing them right after the first year, you know,
Mhm.
second, third week. But actually, I thought this would be a good time right before the holidays.
Yeah, yeah, last year we had quite a few. We had about 40 or so. Oh, Rick's
Good.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna admit everybody. There's only 3 people. But oh, waiting to see if we have a few more people join us. For those of you in Michigan, I hope you're staying warm. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending the Spartan Pathways presentation. Spartan Pathways is the longstanding travel program of the MSU Alumni Office, offering educational travel opportunities for alumni and friends of the university. The program has been in existence for more than 50 years, and we work with tour operators that specialize in alumni group travel. I'm Regina Cross, and I've been directing the program for more than 20 years. I'm pleased you've joined us today. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. To avoid any background noise, you will be muted throughout the presentation. The format for this session is a 30-minute presentation with our featured tour operator with Q&A at the end. We encourage you to submit your questions during the presentation, and you can do so by utilizing the chat feature on your screen. I will be collecting the questions throughout. Also, the session is being recorded, and I will send the link to you once the video has been finalized. On to our featured presenter. Today, we have Mike Maglione, Senior Director of Business Development at GoNext. GoNext has been a leader in alumni group travel for nearly 50 years, and they specialize in river and ocean cruises and Great Lake voyages. Our relationship with GoNext has spanned more than 15 years, and I have worked with Mike for many of these years. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Regina.
All right. You should be able to share your screen now.
All righty, can you see that?
Not quite yet. There we go.
Okay. How's that?
Yes.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Regina. It's always great to talk with the MSU Spartan Travelers. We have a long-standing history, as Regina had mentioned, and we're looking forward to previewing our future trips. Actually, I'm going to talk specifically about trips departing in June and beyond into the early 2023 because of the cycle here. Many of our trips in the winter are already full or space is limited. So we do have some trips that on request you could certainly inquire about. What I thought I'd do is kind of just give you a little background about Go Next. If you're not familiar with us, we're actually celebrating our 50th anniversary in 2022. Hopefully we can kick off the next half century a little bit better than we ended the last. We work solely with alumni groups. We work with over 100 universities throughout the US and Canada. And so we know how to work with groups, coordinate your onboard events, your activities, and really enhance the environment to help you get to know your fellow alumni. We work with we have exclusive relationships with several of our operators, all of our operators. Our flagship product is Oceana Cruises, which are our blue water, our ocean-going cruises. We also work with American Queen Voyages, which navigate the US lakes and waters, and Scenic, which is a European river vessel company. With all of our operators, we have agreements when it comes to price integrity. You'll never find our product less expensive anywhere else except through your member. And in many cases, you may have the lowest price available. We are a full turnkey service, vertically integrated travel operator. So we provide the services from the beginning when it comes to promoting the program through the addressing any questions you may have, of course, operating the trip and post-trip information. Our guest services reps are always available to answer any questions you might have. On board, we have experienced Go Next program managers who you'll interact with on board. We have our own hospitality desk on all the ships, and you always interact with our staff that really do a good job interacting with the ship staff, just so you get that extra level of service for any of your needs. We also operate pre and post trips on all of our programs since most of our trips are cruises, if you like to do a land portion before or after your trip. Obviously, the elephant in the room going forward is what are the health and safety protocols. We've actually operated 4 trips already, 3 in October, 1 in November. And now we're a little hiatus until our next departure in middle January. All of our operators require vaccines and negative COVID tests prior to embarkation. And so you'll have to have proof of those going forward. That means we have 100% vaccinated guests, crew, and staff on all our vessels. And as a result, most of the shipboard activities when they're outside won't require face masks. Inside, depending on what the product is and where we're at, may require face masks. And of course, at the dining, there's face masks aren't required. Probably the biggest question people have is, what if I do my part, get the vaccine, get tested, I'm fine getting on the ship. And let's say I contract COVID while I'm on the ship. Not feeling well, you go to the medical center, you get a COVID test, and you find out you test positive. We actually will have contracted with a outside source called Medevac, and their sole job is to help coordinate folks who have to disembark cruise ships because of medical reasons. If the passenger has purchased travel insurance, the protocol would be that they would, and they do test positive while on board, they'll be escorted off by Medevac. They'll be put in a quarantine hotel. We'll arrange arrangements for them. They'll be escorted to the airport after their quarantine and sent home. They'll make a claim to their insurance company, and any portion of that claim up to full denial will be then reimbursed by us. So it's good peace of mind in knowing there's so many different ramifications and so many different rules, and depending on countries and what have you, just to have the kind of peace of mind that it won't be any out-of-pocket expense if you do contract COVID, since we will cover the difference between any claim you have and the full cost. Now, obviously, the key there is you have to buy travel insurance. So we're putting a lot of emphasis on passengers, especially in this day and age, to purchase travel insurance. But if they do, then they have that kind of peace of mind that there won't be any out-of-pocket costs. In addition, any portion of the trip that is disrupted, you'll be given a future cruise credit for that portion. So you can help defray any future costs for a trip you may want to take in the future. That's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a whole lot of a 4-page FAQ on our website you can go to get into all the details. But this is, I think, are the most important aspects of the trip are, obviously being vaccinated and tested prior, and then what we'll do on our part if the passenger gets the insurance, we have it covered from our end when it comes to, being escorted off the ship and being taken care of with a planned third party who does that as their business. As I mentioned, we work with several different operators. Our flagship product are the Oceana vessels. Oceana has 6 vessels. We'll be bringing on a 7th in 2023. 2 of the vessels are 1,280 passengers. The other 4 are 685 passengers. Effective in 2022, all of our products, all of our pricing will include the O-Life package, which entails inclusive airfare from 28 major gateways throughout the U.S., in addition to transfers from the airport to the ship and back, internet, and then your choice of select shore excursions, a shipboard credit, or a beverage package. So in essence, basically, other than gratuities and miscellaneous expenses and some shore excursions, this is all-inclusive pricing. All the Oceana vessels have what they call the terrace grill. And this is a place where you can meet for breakfast, lunch, or dinner in a buffet format. All the buffets on Oceana have always been served, so it's not self-service. You'll actually have to just point out what the foods you want under the glass, and then you're served it. So again, a lot of cruise lines are going to the service now post-COVID, but it's always been on Oceana. Oceana is also known as some of the best cuisine at sea. So they have both their grand dining room, which is open seating. You just go in there at any time between 6 and 9, pick any table. You're not assigned a seat, and you're not assigned a time. That said, they have specific alternative dining venues or restaurants on board where you actually will make reservations like you would at home. So whether it be Toscana's, the all-Italian inclusive restaurant, or Polo Grill, the American Steakhouse, or Red Ginger, the Asian Fusion restaurant, these are all great dining venues to include in addition to the grand dining room and the terrace grill. On board also, they have self-guided audio tours. They have an artist loft where you can enjoy learning from an in-residency artist, whether it be a photographer, a sculptor, a painter, what have you. And these are all free of charge. Oceana has the only culinary cooking school at sea. These classes are about $49. They're very inexpensive, but very interesting, even if you're not into cuisine. You'll actually even have the chance, if you want, to go do a culinary discovery tour where you actually go with the chefs at shore, look at go to the markets, and then actually come back and prepare the food. So another nice trying to enhance the lifelong learning experience. They also, on all their vessels, have the Aquamar Spa and Vitality Center. So whether it be just massages or facials or a whole regimen of nutrition and vitality, it's a great way to relax, especially the day at sea. I'm going to get into now our programs for to highlight a few programs in 2022 and 23. Again, the complete schedule is on the MSU website. And these are programs that we've provided enough lead time so there's actually space and we can have yet in some cases to even promote from a mailing standpoint. Our first program is our Great Pacific Northwest program on the American Empress. The Empress is a 200-passenger vessel that plies the Columbia River. Our itineraries start in Vancouver, Washington, and go to Spokane or Clarkston, Washington, and you fly out of Spokane. This particular program starts June 19th. I'm going to find a, there you go. As I mentioned, a highlight of the Empress, being a paddle boat, is that all the American Queen product have what they call the hop on, hop off shore excursions, which are included in the trip. These motor coaches actually travel up and down the river with the river ships or the river boats. And so you have the same bus drivers and guides throughout the tenure of your trip. But what's nice is they have little marquees at all the ports of call at different stops, and they rotate between the marquees and the boat. So you can stay at a destination as long as you want, whether it be a museum or a winery or what have you, and then come back on the motor coach when it comes back through the next 20, 30 minutes. And you can rotate all day if you want. And so it's nice. They're always very popular because it's kind of at your own pace. You can stay as little or as long as you like. As I mentioned, you're flying to Portland, and it's about a 20-minute drive to the Vancouver, Washington, where the ship is. En route, you might have an opportunity to stop at Multnomah Falls, beautiful waterfall outside of Portland, en route to the vessel. Of course, it's one of the highlights is cruising the Columbia River Gorge. This is Crown Point in the Vista House, which is a National Registry building observatory built in 1918. All of marble and brass. It's really postured about 700 feet on this bluff overlooking the Columbia River Gorge. And I actually believe Teddy Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, actually was here for the groundbreaking in the late 1800s or 1910s, I think mid 1915, something like that. But really a neat structure, beautiful vantage point. And really gives you a feel for the topography of this area. One of our stops will be in the Dalles, and this is where you'll visit the Columbia Gorge Discovery Center and Museum. Here they have a lot of different displays and exhibits, one being of Lewis and Clark and the Lewis and Clark expedition. And they actually researched some of their cargo they carried with you, and they have actually cargo from the Lewis and Clark expedition and some of the interesting facts about their expedition and how they financed it, where some of the things they carried with them, and actual examples of those things. So, and of course, this is all about westward expansion and movement as well. It's a very nice and interactive museum. Obviously, the different topography through the Columbia River Gorge, coming from a very lush and green topography all the way to the eastern end of the state, where it gets more arid, and we'll find more of the wineries, are some of the highlights. I think there was like 20 wineries in this region 20 years ago. Now there's over 200. So it's really been a proliferation when it comes to vineyards and wineries in this region, and a nice opportunity to visit some of those on the trip. And then we end in Clarkston, Washington, and we fly out of Spokane. Our next program is in July. It's our Black Sea program. Again, this starts at $42.99, including air transfers and select shore excursions. And this is on the Riviera. We'll start in Istanbul on the Bosphorus. And we'll go up to 3 ports of call: Odessa, Constanta, and Nesipar in the Black Sea. This is the Odessa Opera House. Obviously, coming down into the Bosphorus, then one of the highlights will be Kusadasi for the ruins of Ephesus. Here, the Library of Celsus. Just a beautiful area where you'll see the amphitheaters and the tile houses, and obviously a lot of the ruins of that area. We'll go into Bodrum, Turkey, which is more of a European resort area. And then the highlight will be visiting several Greek isles, including Santorini, before we come into Athens and to visit the Acropolis and the Parthenon. Again, that program is very popular, especially since a lot of trips didn't go to the Black Sea in 2018-19 because of issues up there in the northern Black Sea. And then, of course, with COVID, we didn't do anything. So I think there'll be a lot of pent-up demand for that itinerary. Another highlight itinerary for us is our Baltic and Scandinavia program. This is August 6th through 22nd, through 17th, Copenhagen to Stockholm program. Always a highlight. You have the opportunity to go into Copenhagen early and visit this neat little walking town in Denmark before we embark the Riviera and go down to Warnemünde for Berlin. And here's the Brandenburg Gate. We'll visit Visby, Scotland or Sweden, and then up to the 3 Baltic countries, visiting Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Until we come into St. Petersburg. We'll spend 2 full days in St. Petersburg. Here's the Church of the Spilt Blood, over 1,700 square feet, I believe, of mosaics. Interesting enough, I'm from St. Louis, and I learned when I was in St. Petersburg at this museum that this church this is second only to the Basilica in St. Louis. So sometimes we don't realize the history in our own backyard, but it's quite a structure. And then on to Helsinki. We'll visit Helsinki, and this is the famous train station designed by Eilo Saarinen. And into Stockholm, home of the Pulitzer Prize, the Nobel Prize, as well as we'll visit the Vasa Museum. This is a Swedish galleon built in the 1600s that went about, I think it's like just several hundred yards into the bay and sunk. And so they resurrected it, and it's kind of a Pirates of the Caribbean type of ship with gun turrets. And it's really interesting, and they actually built a museum around it. It's a very interesting site to visit. You also have an opportunity to do a post trip in Stockholm, a 3-day, 2-night post trip. Our next trip is in Majestic Great Lakes. This is a trip from Chicago to Toronto on a 200-passenger vessel, the Victory. The Victory is owned by American Queen. It's been well appointed and just upgraded with great, size staterooms, a nice deck, single seating dining area, nice grill. We can have receptions as well as another dining venue for breakfast and lunch buffets. And of course, the tavern, this is also used where we do lectures as well. It's a larger seating area right there behind those tables. We start at the Navy Pier in Chicago. We'll embark at the pier. And then one of the highlights, we'll be going up and visiting Mackinac Island before coming down through into Detroit, Henry Ford Museum, many of you are familiar with, stopping in Cleveland to the Rock and Roll Museum in the aquarium. We'll transit the Wayland Canal and visit the Niagara Falls before ending in Toronto. There's a 1-night inclusive hotel stay in Chicago. That's part of the program, so people can get settled and see Chicago and spend some time there. And then, of course, if you wish, you can do a post in Toronto as well. Another event program in the fall of 2022 will be our Byzantine Antiquity, again on Riviera. This is a Venice to Istanbul program. So it kind of covers the remaining portion of the previous trip that we didn't cover, with some overlap into Ephesus. We'll start in Venice, and we'll go down the coast to Split into Montenegro, Kotor, Montenegro, a beautiful port and old town and old city. Again, visiting Santorini, Athens, into Ephesus, and into Istanbul. This is the Topkapi Palace. They're known for the famed dagger that's right on the Bosphorus. There's a beautiful museum, and these 3 Colombian emeralds in this dagger are well positioned, and it's a very beautiful piece. Again, this part of the region we believe will be very popular in 2020, 22, 23, just for the pent-up demand. Our next trip will be a Western Mediterranean program. This is Rome to Monte Carlo, and we'll actually circumnavigate the Mediterranean in a way. We'll see a few ports, including Barcelona, without being an embark or disembark point, which is nice. Start in Rome. We'll have a 3-day, 2-night pre as Rome. Of course, this is the Trevi Fountain in Rome. Up to Florence, River Arno. You'll have an option actually in Livorno to go to not only Florence, but to several different sites, San Gimignano, Lucca, Pisa. So you have a lot of options for people who've been to this region before. Go up to Portofino, and then we'll go over to Corsica, Agio, Corsica, before we go over to Barcelona. And visit the Sagrada La Familia, the famous church by Gaudi. And then we'll go along the coast to Toulon, France, and then end in Monte Carlo, the Principality of Monaco. And there'll be a post available there as well. Those are our 2022, the end of our 2022 programs. I'm just going to kind of preview quickly some of the 2023 programs that we'll be doing, just to give you a heads up. Some of these were canceled in 22 that we had bookings on, actually. Unfortunately, just due to COVID, we had to cancel them. Others are sold out, so I didn't want to sell them in 2022 because there's no use to, but we're repeating them in 23. So one of those programs is our Taste of Caribbean and Panama Canal. It's a 11-day program. Starting in Panama City with a full day on the ship in Panama City before we transit the canal during a daylight transit. And we go up the coast of Central America into the coast of Mexico into Miami. It's a great itinerary. Starting price $31.99. Again, that includes air, select shore excursions, and transfers. And this program you should be receiving a brochure on this program here in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Another program that was canceled, was on the books for 2022 and canceled, is our Australia New Zealand program called Kiwi and Aussie Explorer. This is end of January program. Again, we fly into Auckland. We cruise the North and South Islands of New Zealand, including the Milford Sound, before we transit to Tasman, and then over to Tasmania, 2 full days in Melbourne, and then Sydney. Again, this trip was, we had people on this that canceled, so those who are interested, we can certainly move to 2023. We're doing a Charms of the South program, which is a river paddle boat trip on the Mississippi from New Orleans to Memphis. 1-night hotel stay in New Orleans. We go up the river to the Nottoway and to Baton Rouge, to St. Francisville, a quaint little village on the Mississippi. Of course, Natchez, Mississippi. And the cuisine, Vicksburg, and the Civil War history, Karen Landing, which is right outside of Greenville, which is actually the home of the B.B. King Interactive Museum, which is very, very upscale. It's kind of like going to Smithsonian. Very nice museum, as well as the Jim Henson Museum, a Muppets fame. And then we end up in Memphis. Very nice trip, starting at $2,000. And that includes the hop-on, hop-off shore excursions. We're repeating our Polynesia program, round trip Papeete, in March. This includes Raiatea, Moorea, Bora Bora, the pristine islands of the Polynesia outside of Papeete when you leave the capital. Very little development, very few signs. Done a very good job of non-commercializing these islands. It's a great getaway in the winter, spring to a beautiful area. This is a program that canceled in 2022 that we're repeating in 23. It's a circumnavigation of the lower part of Japan, round trip Tokyo, And some highlights include Hiroshima, Nagasaki. We go over to Busan, South Korea, into Kobe, Kyoto, back into Tokyo. We had 3 of these sold out 2 years straight, 21 and 22. And so hopefully in 23, we can actually operate it. And then we're actually going to be repeating the Scandinavia program in 2023. So the same program I mentioned, only in the opposite direction. We're going to go Stockholm to Copenhagen in 23. If perchance we can't accommodate you in 22, we'll be repeating it in August of 23. So that's kind of a highlight of some of our key programs and some of our key venues in 2020 and 2022 and 23. And I'll be glad to address any questions you might have.
All right. Do we have any questions at all? So Mike, just want to know if how bookings are going for Go Next in 2022 and the response that you're receiving after the pandemic kind of lifted a little.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we had our first 3 cruises in October and 1 in November. And those are operated probably about 75%. And now in the winter of 2022, we actually have very little space available. So there's a lot of pent-up demand. Obviously, people who want to travel are going to travel. Those who won't. But we have a lot of intrepid passengers out there that have, waited 2 years and maybe they were on these trips we canceled in 2020 and they're just ready to go. So the good news is we have a lot of folks on a lot of trips in the winter and spring. The bad news is we can't put any more people on those trips, but that's a good problem to have. And thus the reason we're repeating a lot of trips and a lot of folks I think will be coming on board. But our bookings have been very strong. We've seen an uptick of almost 70 to 100% week to week over the last 4 or 5 weeks, looking into the next spring and summer. A lot of the winter programs already were booked pretty well since August, September.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So
sure.
Any other questions? Anyone have anything at all I'd like to ask Mike? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead. We're gonna give away some prizes here, and Go Next is graciously giving us 2 $250 vouchers for future travel with Go Next. And so I'm going to go ahead and reach in my bucket, mix them around a little bit, and grab. Oh, Rick Sawicki. We've got Rick and Kathy Sawicki. So I will, once we get off of this, I will get with Mike and we will get those to you. I have some other prizes. Yeah, congratulations. I have some other prizes. I've got a Michigan State t-shirt, green t-shirt, and I'll reach in my bucket here. Harriet Kern. Harriet, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, congratulations. I'll find out what size you need and I'll email you for that and I'll mail that out to you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we have a Michigan State. I don't know if you can see this or not. That's kind of difficult to see, but it's a Michigan State. For some reason, it won't show up. It's a Michigan State Christmas stocking. So, all right. Bruce Edwards. Bruce here? We have Bruce.
Yes, here.
All right. I will mail that to you. I'll get your address and mail that to you. All right. Next we have, these are in such big demand here at Michigan State and they've already sold out. But we have a Michigan State, each year they produce a Michigan State ornament. And so here it is. And Lynn Edwards. Lynn, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, I'll get that to you. All right, and our last prize is another Michigan State t-shirt, white t-shirt. And the lucky winner is Larry Alpert. Larry, are you there? I will find out your size and mail that to you. Okay. All right. So in the chat, I went ahead and put the links to different websites that you can find out more information about these tours, and also to our the toll-free number. We have a Michigan State dedicated line with Go Next, and I'll add that in the link as well. And that number is 888-664-0150. And so if you call that number, somebody will know that you're calling from Michigan State, and you can, they will know that what programs that we are offering. So any questions that you have, feel free, you can reach out to me as well. I can be reached at 888-697-2863. And I've added that in the chat as well. So, all right. Well, thank you all for attending our upcoming sessions. Next week, we are with Orbridge and Sports and Entertainment Travel, and it's on Wednesday, December 15th. If you've signed up for that, that presentation, I will send you the link the day before. And also, if there's anything else that I can help you with, please let me know. Thank you again, Mike, so much. And
Thank you.
Thank you for attending the presentation, and go green.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Regina. Hi, Regina. Rick and Kathy Sawicki are here too, and thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Thanks. Good to see you. Well, good to hear you.
Yes.
All right. We can't always
Thank
see
you.
everybody in these presentations, so that's great. I hope you guys are doing well.
Yes, we are. Thank you.
All righty. All right. And Bruce and Lynn, I do see your address here, so I will mail those out to you. All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.